Okay, so to get started with your first automation, once you've logged into your ecom CRM account and you found yourself here on the dashboard, go ahead and click on the Automations tab here within the left-hand side panel. This will open up the Automations page, and within here what we can do is click on Create Workflow up here right in the top corner, and we can either select from a recipe or start from scratch. If you select a recipe, it'll open up an option for you to select from various templates which we've pre-configured inside of the ecom CRM platform, so you to select, customize, and use right away. However, in this case, we're going to start from scratch and build a simple workflow to show you exactly how this works. So the first thing we want to do with any new workflow is go ahead and rename it. This is so that we don't forget and get mixed up with a bunch of default names and a bunch of workflows that we're getting confused later on down the line when we want to start linking this into our actual automations. Once you've renamed your automation, go ahead and click anywhere on the page and it will just save that as the name. Now, automations start with triggers. So a trigger is an event or an action that happens that triggers this automation to then make its way through the list of tasks or automations that we've programmed it to do. So a trigger could be anything such as a form submission, an appointment booked, birthday reminder, a contact change, a new contact added, a new subscriber. Any of these things could be a trigger. And in fact, anything that you could imagine is a trigger can actually be configured as a trigger within this platform. So you can see here on the right hand side, we have multiple different triggers sorted by contacts, events, appointments, opportunities, affiliates, and much, much more. So what we're going to do in this automation is go ahead and create a simple automation for a form submission that will send an email to somebody once they've submitted their information in a contact form. So to get started with this automation, we're going to find the form submitted automation trigger. And within here, it's going to say choose a workflow trigger, which is form submitted, the workflow trigger name, which we're just going to keep form submitted for now, and then add filters. We're going to expand this filter. And because we don't want the trigger to pick up all the forms within our entire CRM platform, we want to narrow it down to a specific form. So to do this, go ahead and click on filters, and then we're going to select on standard fields form is. And then within here, we're going to be able to select our form field that we want to be specific for this automation. Saving this now will add this trigger, and it will also confirm to this automation that this automation is specific to that form that we selected in this trigger. So any other form outside of that specific form within our platform will not be recognized by this automation. Now to add the next step, the next thing is to click this plus sign, and this will allow us to select a new action. So we've selected our trigger, which is to trigger the automation to begin. Now we want to start adding actions within our automations. These are things that will happen now that the trigger has taken place. And so as you can imagine, anything can be used as an action. In fact, we have hundreds of different actions here on the right-hand side for you to choose from. In this case, we're going to add a simple wait step, which will just wait, in our case, 5 minutes between the form being submitted and our next action taking place. So go ahead and save this, and it'll add the wait step right here. The next thing we're going to do now is click this plus icon, and we're going to look for the send email action under communication. So here is send email. We're going to click on this, and then in here we can send and customize an email under this automation. We can actually customize this completely from scratch within this email box, or we can actually select from a template if we have templated marketing emails already set. In this case, we're going to type out a very simple email and set it as a customized email. Once you've filled in all these boxes, you also have the option to add an attachment if that's something that you want to. However, if not, if you're happy with everything that you have created in here, go ahead and click on Save Action, and this will save this to our automation. So right now we can see that our trigger for our automation is a specific form being submitted. In our case, would be an email submission to a form. We then have a wait step of 5 minutes. So we're going to wait 5 minutes after this user has submitted their information via this form. And then we have an email customized that will be sent out to that specific prospect 5 minutes after they submitted their information to the form. To finish off this automation, we're going to add a final wait step here, and we're just going to set this for 1 minute and then save the action. So now we have the trigger, we have a wait step, an email, a wait step, and then an end and a close to the automation. Once you're happy with the automation and what you've built out here, this looks pretty good to me. We actually have the option to click into settings and to start editing some of the settings within our workflow. So the two contact settings up here are allow re-entry. This will allow or not allow contacts who have already entered into the automation once to be re-entered again if we'd like them to be. So based on your specific automation that you're creating, this will change to either yes or a no. In this case, because we're creating a email submission, which would usually be used for something like a lead magnet, we're going to allow re-entry to allow contacts to come back to the specific page that we're sending them to submit their email again and get the piece of information that they're looking for. We can also select a stop on response. So this is especially helpful if we're doing an outreach email campaign, that if a prospect were to reply to our automation, that it would then automatically take them out of the workflow and not send the further emails down the line after they've already responded to us. We can then also select the time zone for our automation. So whether we want the account time zone for our time zone, or we want to use the contacts time zone. In this case, we're going to select account time zone. We also have specific window. So again, if you're, let's say, running a outreach email automation, you can restrict the time window as to what time these emails are being sent. So whether that's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday to Friday, or maybe you want to include Saturday and Sundays, and maybe even past 5 p.m. or before 8 a.m. In this case, we're just going to turn this off and we're just going to leave it as default. And then finally is the sender names. So in this case, we're actually going to add a sender name and a sender email just to show our prospects that who these emails are from, and also to confirm to the email platforms that our prospects are using that this is the information that they should be using to the from name and from email fields within their platforms. And then finally, you can also mark emails as read if you'd like to. However, this can affect deliverability. So in most cases, we would recommend to leave it off. And then next we have enrollment history. So this is actually an activity log of all the contacts that we've enrolled into our automation. And then finally is execution logs. And this is an activity log of all the executions that have taken place within this automation for every single contact that we've brought in. So once everything looks good to you, go ahead and go back to the builder. And if you're happy with this, you can actually test the workflow if you have some information here that you'd like to test. And if you'd like to save it, go ahead and click on the save button up here in the top right corner. You'll get a message here saying the workflow has been saved. And then to make sure it's published and it's live and working, you need to make sure to change the status from draft to publish, and then go ahead and save it once again. If you don't do this step, then you'll have a saved automation that is still in draft and it isn't actually working in the back end. So make sure it's published. And then to leave the automation builder page, go ahead and click back to workflows up here in the top left corner. And this will bring us back into the ecom CRM platform and back to our workflow list. So I hope this tutorial helped and gave you an overall guide on how to create your very first automation within the ecom CRM platform. If you'd like to check out more tutorials just like this one, then go ahead and check out our entire playlist for more simple tutorials within the software. And finally, please feel free to view the links in the description if you're looking for a custom software solution or if you want to get started on a free trial of ecom CRM.